Hi guys, so I ended up hitting TP with over $600 from this trade. But before then, there is this mistake that I made that nearly ruined that trade. I sent this in out to the community and thank God for experience, we won that trade at the end of the day. But this simple mistake, I know a lot of you guys make the same mistake, and I'm making this video because of that reason. A lot of you guys make the mistake of not letting your last confirmation to completely play out before jumping into the market. So I made the same mistake, and this is what happened. You can see that here the blue area, the blue box is where I marked as my key level. So price coming to that level, I was expecting price to break out from that level, and then it took a lot of time, right? Price played around that level for so long before it later broke out, right? So I was already becoming impatient while waiting for this breakout to happen. So eventually when it happened, when it finally broke out, I just jumped into the market. After it closed, I just jumped into the market, hoping that to just continue downwards, because that place was, of course, very strong. And if price breaks from a strong zone like that, oftentimes it will want to retest that zone. But I didn't care to wait for that retest. And this is something I know a lot of you guys do. So what happened? When I realized that this market is going to stress me, that's when I had to give a call for us to close out with profit. And then I waited for that retest to happen, and eventually it did. So price eventually came back to that level and then started dropping from there. But did I enter immediately? It retested that level? No, I did not. I waited for more signals, right? The first signal I saw was that the candlesticks became the you can see that the bulls became very weak at that point, and there was this long rejection that you can see at that level, right? You can see that long rejection that closed price at that level, and then I still waited to see the next candlestick, to see what the next candlestick would do. I waited and it closed bearish, but with a bit of weakness, right? It closed bearish, but you see it was weak. Buyers were able to push price up to this extent. So I still had to wait for the next one to close, and which was this one. After this one closed, that's when I took my sell, and then we ended up hitting our target. All right, we ended up hitting our target. So that was one mistake that would have ruined that trade. I'm glad, thankful for experience, and we were able to overcome that one. So how did I even come up with this? I'm going to quickly go to higher time frame to show you the analysis that I did before I came to taking the trade. So quickly, you're just going to go to higher time frame. First of all, what do you want to do in the market when you are in a higher time frame? You want to see the direction of the market, okay? So of course, when you are analyzing, the first thing you want to do is to map out your market structure. Know the direction, know is it going upwards, is it going downwards. And here you can see that price was consistently pulling to the downside, right? It was dropping massively. So having seen that price is dropping, the next thing I want to do is look for areas where I want to be trading from. So yeah, your moving average can also show you that price was consistently pulling downwards. You can see that price consistently moved to the moving average and then run to the downside and then pull back into the moving average and then makes another run to the downside. That shows a downtrend, right? So having seen a downtrend, what do you want to do next? You want to look for areas of value. You want to see areas where will be convenient for you to enter the market from. So that is when you start going to the lower time frames and start looking from there. And then you can see where I marked my resistance zone here, the first resistance zone here. All right, so price was already below that zone. Price had already left that zone, and then it was around this other zone now, right? It was around this support region now. So I was expecting price to either go back up or break that support. The reason why I believed price was going to break that support was because, number one, we are in a proper downtrend. Price had been consistently moving downwards from the higher time frame, from the daily time frame. And then if you look at the daily time frame, look at the candlesticks on that time frame, you would see that it was a very strong bearish movement that brought price into that level, right? You can see that consistently price was going downwards with so much bearish momentum. You can see there was a lot of sellers putting much force into the market. So that was another clear sign that sellers are dominant at the time. And then if you go to a lower time frame, you see that also price was printing more of the bearish signals. Okay, so the breakout happened because of these reasons. Okay, so having broken out from that level, like I said earlier, that's what brought me into taking my trade. So always ensure to wait for price to complete all your confirmations. Make sure you see that the confirmations play out completely before you take a trade. If you're wondering what moving average is on my charts, I'm going to show you the setting right now. And this moving average can actually help you detect direction of the market. If you don't know how to look at your chart and just detect the market direction just by following your market structure, then you will know that you are going to need this moving average setup, which will just show you where the market is going to, and you can follow it just like that. So looking at my chart, what I'm doing right now shows a downtrend. For people who know how to look at the candles and study market structure and be able to tell the direction, that's like a downtrend. And if it's going the opposite direction, that's an uptrend. It's giving series of higher highs and higher lows, that's an uptrend. So if this is not something that you're familiar with and you would love to learn, join the mentorship program. Is going to help you. Also, you could use the moving average. So let's quickly show you guys the setup. It's an exponential moving average period of 5 shifts. One method, like I said, is exponential. Apply to close. You don't need any level, so you skip that, and then use the color that will be visible on your chart. You can see the background on my chart is red, so I'm using the background on my chart is white, so I'm using a red background. And you click done when you're done with that, and you have it running across your chart. So how do you use this to tell the market direction? So you simply look at it and see that price is consistently running under it or above it. If price is running under it, you know you are looking at a downtrend, just like what we have here. So consistently price has been running below the moving average. Okay, so whenever there is a pullback into the moving average, you see another run to the downside. All right, just like that. So that signals a downtrend. And if you see where price is running above the moving average and the moving average is below price, that signals an uptrend. This little level here, you can see that consistently price was coming to the moving average and bouncing back to the upside, right? And then when it pulls back into the moving average, when there's a pullback into the moving average, you see that it goes back up from there. So that signals an uptrend. Okay, so instead of having to, this is another example. So instead of having to look at the market, look at the charts and study the structure to be able to identify your trend, you can just look at the moving average and you will have that information. Make sure you follow up every single rule in your strategy that guides your analysis. Make sure you don't jump any one of them. All right, if you don't have a working strategy, reach out to me and be a part of my mentorship program, so I'll teach you my strategy step by step until you master it. All right, also join our free Telegram group. The link is in the description of this video. Be a part of what we have there. If you have any challenges you want me to address, comment it below and I'll look into it and make a video about it so you guys can learn and keep learning. I'll see you guys in the next video.